I pressed play on my phone, and her own snoring blasted through the tiny cabin. Sarah's eyes flew open, her face twisting in disbelief as she stared at me from the bottom bunk. The sound of her choking, gasping snores filled every corner of our cramped quarters, louder than the anchor chain grinding against metal just outside our wall. "Turn that off," she hissed, shooting up so fast she nearly hit her head on my bunk above. I didn't move, just sat there on the edge of my bed, phone in hand, letting her listen to what I'd endured for 3 solid weeks. "You said it wasn't a big deal," I said flatly, "so why should I turn it off?" Her face went red. She opened her mouth, closed it, then stormed out, slamming the door so hard the mirror rattled. Finally, some peace and quiet. But let me back up just a tiny bit, because you need to understand how I got here. 3 weeks ago, I started this contract on the cruise ship. I'm a performer, singer, and dancer in the evening shows, and we get to pick our roommates. Sarah seemed perfect on paper. Same schedule, same age, similar interests. What she didn't mention during our friendly pre-contract video calls was that she snored like a freight train with asthma. The first night, I thought someone was dying. I literally almost fell out my top bunk at 2 a.m. because I heard this choking, gasping sound from below. I scrambled down the ladder in the dark, heart pounding, ready to perform CPR or call medical. Sarah was just sleeping, snoring, making sounds that would terrify a bear. I climbed back up, thinking maybe it was a one-time thing. Bad sleep position, too much dinner, something. It wasn't. Night 2, I tried earplugs, industrial-strength foam ones that claimed to block out jackhammers. I could still hear her. Night 3, I wore my expensive over-ear headphones and played white noise at maximum volume. Still heard her. The snoring cut through everything like a chainsaw through butter. By day 4, we docked in Cozumel, and I was running on maybe 6 hours of sleep total. My dance captain noticed I was off during rehearsal. I missed a turn, stumbled through a lift. She pulled me aside. "You okay? You look exhausted." "Roommate snores," I said, trying to laugh it off. She winced sympathetically. "Have you talked to her?" I hadn't yet. So that night, after the evening show, I caught Sarah before she crashed. She was already in her pajamas, scrolling through her phone on her bunk. "Hey, can we talk about something?" She looked up. "Sure, what's up?" "You're snoring. It's really loud, and I can't sleep, like at all." She blinked. "Oh, yeah, I've been told that before." "Okay, so do you think maybe you could see the ship's doctor? They might have solutions. Sleep apnea devices, those strip things for your nose, I don't know." Sarah shrugged. "I sleep fine, so it's not really a problem for me." The casual dismissal hit me like cold water. But it's a problem for me. I'm getting like 2 hours a night. "I mean, you'll get used to it." She went back to her phone. I stood there, stunned. That was it? No apology? No willingness to try anything? I climbed into my bunk that night with a knot in my stomach. The ship's HR policy made changing roommates nearly impossible unless there was abuse or a major incident. Snoring didn't qualify. I'd already checked. Over the next week and a half, I tried everything. I switched my sleep schedule to crash during her work hours, but our schedules overlapped too much. I requested schedule changes, but as performers, we had fixed showtimes. I even tried sleeping in the crew lounge once, but security made me leave at midnight, ship policy. The exhaustion started affecting everything. My performances suffered. I was snapping at my fellow dancers. I spilled coffee on my costume. The breaking point came after a particularly brutal day. I'd been up at 9 for a morning rehearsal, had back-to-back shows, and a special private event that didn't wrap until 11 at night. 14 hours. I had to be up again at 6 for a morning production meeting. I dragged myself to our cabin at midnight, every muscle aching. Sarah was already asleep, already snoring. The sound was like a symphony of chainsaws, punctuated by these horrible choking gasps that made my skin crawl. I lay there in the dark, headphones on, pillow over my head, tears of frustration burning my eyes. At 2 a.m, I gave up and grabbed my phone. I opened the voice recorder app and hit record. The audio file captured everything. The rhythmic sighing, the sudden gasps, the moment where she stopped breathing for a terrifying 5 seconds before resuming with a massive snort. I listened to it with my headphones at minimum volume. It was horrifying. How did she not know she needed medical help? I got maybe 2 hours of sleep that night. When my alarm went off at 6, I wanted to scream. Instead, I got up, got ready, and stumbled through my morning meeting like a zombie. That afternoon, I had a blessed 2-hour break between obligations. I headed back to the cabin, planning to crash hard. Sarah was there, sitting on her bunk, looking fresh and rested. "Oh, hey," she said brightly. "I'm gonna take a quick nap before my shift." Something in me snapped. The exhaustion, the frustration, the complete lack of consideration. "Sure," I said, climbing into my bunk. She settled into her bed below, getting comfortable. I waited. 30 seconds later, the snoring started. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the recording, and connected it to my portable Bluetooth speaker. Then I pressed play at full volume. The sound of her own snoring exploded through the cabin. Sarah shot up like she'd been electrocuted, banging her head on my bunk frame. "What the hell?" she shouted over the noise. I paused it. "That's you, every single night. Turn it off." "Why? You said it's not a big deal." Her face went through several shades of red. "You can't just... That's insane." "What's insane is not being able to sleep in my own room. What's insane is you refusing to even try to fix this." She sputtered, clearly trying to find words. "You're being a complete jerk." "And you're being completely selfish," I shot back. She grabbed her phone and stormed out, cursing under her breath. The door slammed. I sat there in the sudden silence, my heart pounding. Was I being cruel? Maybe. Did I care anymore? Not really. That evening, I saw her in the crew dining hall. She was sitting with some of the other performers, and when I walked in, she shot me the dirtiest look I'd ever received. Fine. I grabbed my dinner and sat elsewhere. That night, when I returned to the cabin around 11, she was already there, lying in her bunk scrolling through her phone. She didn't acknowledge me. I got ready for bed in silence. The tension was thick enough to cut. I climbed into my bunk. She turned off her light. Within minutes, the snoring started. I let it go on for about 30 seconds, then pulled out my phone and played the recording again. Sarah exploded out of her bunk. "Are you kidding me right now?" "Nope," I said. "Just helping you understand what I deal with." "This is harassment." "This is me trying to get some sleep. You want me to stop? Go see the doctor." "I'm not going to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with me." "The recording says otherwise. You stop breathing in your sleep, Sarah. That's not normal." She glared at me, grabbed her bathrobe, and left again. This time she was gone for over an hour. When she came back, I was actually asleep. But I woke up when she climbed into her bunk and started snoring again within minutes. I played the recording. She threw a pillow at my bunk, but didn't leave. Day 2 of my petty revenge, I was tired, but slightly less miserable. She'd left the cabin when I played the recording the 3rd time that night, and I'd gotten 4 solid hours of sleep. Progress. At breakfast, I noticed she was sitting with Jessica, one of the entertainment coordinators. They kept looking over at me. I ignored them. During rehearsal, my dance captain pulled me aside again. "You seem better today." "Getting more sleep," I said. She nodded. "Good. Keep it up. We need you sharp for the gala tomorrow night." That afternoon, I had another break. I headed to the cabin, and sure enough, Sarah was there again. She saw me come in and immediately got defensive. "I have just as much right to be here as you do." "Never said you didn't," I replied, climbing into my bunk with my book. She lay down, started snoring. I gave it about 10 seconds before pulling out my phone and playing her greatest hits. She sat up so fast. "You're unbelievable." "Right back at you," I said without looking up from my book. She left, muttering angrily. I read in peace for 20 minutes before taking my own nap. Glorious silence. That evening's show went great. Best performance I'd had in weeks. Proper sleep was miracle medicine. Afterward, as I was removing my stage makeup, Jessica appeared in the dressing room doorway. "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" My stomach dropped. "Sure." We stepped into the hallway. Jessica looked uncomfortable. So Sarah mentioned there's some tension between you two? She snores extremely loudly and refuses to do anything about it, I said directly. I've asked her to see the doctor. She won't. I can't sleep. Jessica nodded slowly. She said you've been playing loud noises to keep her awake. I've been playing recordings of her own snoring, so she can understand what I'm dealing with. Jessica's eyebrows went up. Oh, that's different from what she told me, I figured. Look, I can't officially get involved unless it becomes a bigger issue, but maybe you two can work something out? I tried. She doesn't think her snoring is a big deal because it doesn't affect her sleep. Jessica sighed. Okay, just try to keep it civil, all right? We're stuck on this ship together for another 3 months. I promised I would, but that night when Sarah started snoring at midnight, I played the recording again. She didn't even get up this time, just yelled, "Stop it!" from her bunk. "Go see the doctor," I called back. "No!" I played it louder. She got up and left. I finally got some sleep. Day 3 of the recording war, the tension was reaching critical mass. Sarah had started telling anyone who would listen that I was harassing her. I'd overheard her in the hallway talking to some of the other crew members, painting herself as the victim of a crazy roommate. She conveniently left out the part where she'd refused every reasonable solution I'd proposed. That afternoon, I was called to the entertainment manager's office. Marcus was a fair guy, former performer himself, and he didn't look happy. "Sit down," he said, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. I sat, my heart hammering. "Sarah filed a complaint, says you're preventing her from sleeping by playing loud noises at all hours." "Did she mention why I'm doing it?" Marcus leaned back. "She said something about you being angry that she snores, but that you're taking it too far." "Marcus, I haven't slept properly in 3 weeks. She snores so loudly I can hear her through earplugs and headphones. I asked her to see the doctor because she stops breathing in her sleep. She refused. She said it's not a big deal because she sleeps fine." His expression shifted. "She stops breathing?" "Yes, I have it recorded. Want to hear it?" He nodded. I pulled out my phone and played 30 seconds of the recording. Marcus's eyes widened as the choking, gasping snores filled his office. "That's every night?" he asked. "Every single night, all night. Our cabin is next to the anchor chain, and I can hear her over the sound of us docking." Marcus rubbed his temples. "And you asked her to see medical?" "Multiple times. She refuses, says there's nothing wrong." "So you started playing this back to her?" "I was desperate. I'm exhausted. It's affecting my performances. I just wanted her to understand what I'm dealing with and maybe take it seriously enough to get help." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Okay, I need to talk to Sarah again. This isn't what she described to me." 20 minutes later, Sarah was called in. I was asked to wait outside. Through the door, I could hear Marcus's measured tones and Sarah's increasingly defensive responses. Then I heard the recording playing again and Sarah's shocked silence. "That's what you sound like," Marcus said, his voice carrying. Through the door. "She's not making this up." "It's not that bad," Sarah protested. "It is, and you stopping breathing in your sleep is a medical concern. Why haven't you seen the doctor?" "Because I'm fine." "You're clearly not fine, and you're preventing your roommate from sleeping, then refusing to address it. That's not acceptable." "So you're taking her side?" "I'm taking the side of common sense and consideration. You need to see medical. Today." There was more back and forth, but eventually Sarah left the office, brushing past me without making eye contact. Marcus called me back in. "I've told her she needs to see the doctor by end of day tomorrow, or it goes on her record as insubordination. I'm also going to arrange for you both to get new roommates. It'll take a few days to coordinate, but consider it done. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. For what it's worth, you could have handled it better, but I understand the desperation. Try to avoid each other until the room swap happens, okay? I agreed and left. That night, Sarah didn't return to the cabin until very late. When she did, she didn't say a word to me. She climbed into her bunk, and, surprisingly, the snoring was slightly quieter. Not gone, but reduced.
Had she actually seen the doctor? The next morning I found out. She'd been given nasal strips and a referral for a sleep study at the next port. The strips helped somewhat, but the tension between us was still unbearable. 2 days later, I moved in with Riley, a sound technician who worked opposite shifts from me. Quiet, respectful, and blessedly silent while sleeping. Sarah moved in with Jessica, which I thought was fitting since Jessica had been somewhat sympathetic to her at first. I ran into Sarah a week later in the crew gym. She was on the treadmill, and I took the one next to her without thinking. Awkward. After a few minutes of silence, she spoke. The doctor said I have severe sleep apnea. I glanced over. Okay. I need a CPAP machine. They're ordering one to meet the ship at the next port. That's good. It'll help. She was quiet for another minute. Jessica snores too. Not as bad as me, apparently, but enough that I noticed. I didn't say anything. I get it now, Sarah continued quietly. Why you were so desperate. Jessica woke me up twice last night, and I wanted to throw something. I tried telling you, I said, keeping my eyes forward. I know, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was that bad, and I was embarrassed about the medical stuff. You could have killed yourself in your sleep, Sarah. Sleep apnea isn't a joke. She nodded, slowing her treadmill. Yeah, the doctor said the same thing. Said my oxygen levels were probably dropping dangerously low. We finished our workouts in silence. As we were leaving, she stopped me. Thanks for pushing it, even if your method was annoying as hell. I shrugged. Sorry for being petty, but not really. She actually laughed. Fair. We weren't friends after that, but the hostility faded. I saw her a few weeks later with her CPAP machine, and she said it was life-changing. She had more energy, felt more rested, and even her performances improved. Riley turned out to be the perfect roommate. Quiet, clean, and we barely saw each other because of our opposite schedules. I finally caught up on sleep, and my performances returned to top form. The dance captain even complimented me on getting my spark back. Looking back, I don't regret playing those recordings. Was it petty? Absolutely. Was it childish? Probably. But sometimes people need to experience what they're putting others through before they'll take it seriously. Sarah could have handled it better by listening to me the first time. I could have handled it better by escalating through proper channels faster. But in the end, we both learned something. She learned she had a serious medical condition that needed treatment. I learned that sometimes you have to fight for your own well-being, even if it makes you temporarily unpopular. 3 months later, my contract ended. I said goodbye to Riley, nodded politely to Sarah as we passed in the hallway during disembarkation, and headed home. Best sleep I had in months was in my own bed, in my own apartment, with no roommate at all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have done the same thing in my situation, or was I wrong to fight petty with petty?